Shalom, shalom everybody. Okay, so I'm making this video. I'm making this video for this thread on Facebook. The thread on Facebook is asking the question, what were the cloven tongues at Pentecost? Okay, though. Let me tell you something. To understand a text, okay? To understand a text, for example, I had a customer one time when I was doing Lyft before COVID. This customer was she had a doctorate in ancient Japanese poetry, okay? So in order to understand the ancient Japanese poetry, she had to learn all the things of the history, the history of the language, how the language changed, because each time period the language changed and things culturally, historically, things change. So in order for her to understand the poetry of the most ancient Japanese poetry, she had to learn a bunch of things to understand everything in context, okay? So the same goes with scripture. You have to understand everything in context, okay? So for example, you have to know the context, the context of the time period. You have to understand the context of the cultural context, the historic context, linguistic. Okay, so let me tell you where the idea comes from about those tongues of fire. Okay. If you do your research, like I have already done, I preached a message when my first pastoral job years ago. I preached a message, and the Ruach Hakodesh, the Ruach led me to find a lot of places and a lot of the definitions of the words, okay? So it was part of my sermon, and that's the reason that I know what I'm gonna say right now, because I've studied it already, I've preached on it, and I could tell you easily what it all meant, okay? So during the time of Moses, when he was up on the mountain speaking to the Most High, the people down at the bottom, they were afraid because they saw the sparks flying. They saw the lightnings. They heard the thunderings. They heard the voices. They heard, the Most High's voice, okay? Now let me tell you something. Certain people that were being chosen as priests, these sparks of fire were somehow over the heads. Of these priests. Now I can imagine maybe people standing down. Remember, you have to understand the Hebraic language, and you have to understand the context. So imagine a bunch of people standing at the foot of the mountain, and overhead flies like a shooting star kind of spark that's coming out of the mountain. Now, because it's flying directly over the head, right? Okay, now, understand this. Because it's flying directly over the head, remember that the Yahudim, they look for signs, okay? So to a Yahudim, that is a sign that the Most High is choosing you for something, okay? Now, what does it mean to be chosen, to be called, to be consecrated, to be made holy, okay? To be made holy is to be made set apart. Remember, for example, the priests, like the Pharisees, the Sadducees, the scribes and all that, they're the separated ones. Why are they separated? Because they are, well, in their context, they're wrong, okay? But let's go to, for example, the Levitical priests that were chosen by Yah, by the Most High, in that moment at the mountain with the sparks flying. They were separated. They were set apart. They were being chosen to be separated, okay? Like the word consecrated. It is to be set aside for a specific purpose, okay? So the wicked translators that called them cloven tongues are liars, okay? They are separated sparks, which means they are holy sparks. They are kadosh sparks, okay? Why are they kadosh? Because they're flying overhead and choosing, and it is the Most High saying, I choose this man, boom, and a spark flies over his head, okay? Now, at Shavuot, when the disciples, the Talmudim of Messiah were standing around in that room, the same kind of sparks flew supernaturally over their head. They were not cloven tongues, okay? The only one that has a cloven tongue is the dragon, is the serpent, okay? The Most High does not use imagery that is profane. The Most High chooses imagery that is kadosh. He's choosing his kadoshim. He's choosing his holy ones, okay? So it is not cloven tongues of fire. It is separated sparks of fire flying over the heads, okay? So at the mountain with Masha, however you want to say it, I got to look it up. I forgot what the ancient language calls him. It's not Moshe, okay? That's the wicked scribes that changed the Hebrew. The modern Hebrew is corrupted, so it's not Moshe. It's if I remember, it's Musha or Masha. Anyways, just wanted to throw that in there because the language is corrupted. At the time of that particular prophet, okay, again, at the mountain, sparks were flying, and they flew overhead of certain men that the Most High chose to be high priests and whatnot. Okay, so at Shavuot, when those kadosh, when those separated, when those set apart sparks, when those holy sparks were flying over the heads of certain men, it was because they were being chosen to fulfill what was spoken about the Melech Shadiq priesthood, okay? Remember, the Aaronic Levitical priesthood was wiped out by the Hasmonean dynasty, serpent seed, that usurped and killed all of the Zadokites and the Levitical priesthood and all of them. So Messiah was showing the same sign that he showed at the mountain when he gave the Torah. He was showing the signs of those holy, separated, holy, consecrating, cleansing fire sparks over the heads of the new priests, the new high priests. So that is what it meant, okay? Do not fall for these, dispensationalist, Jesuit, garbage, demonic teachings that most of the harlot denominations, the little daughters of the beast, go around spreading. Okay, they were not cloven tongues. Again, that's blasphemous. Okay, they were separated sparks of fire, holy, separated, set apart. Okay, these wicked scribes, these translators, with their demonic dreaming of dreams, have twisted so many things, and for their disgusting changes that they've made, their names will be blotted out of the Lamb's Book of Life. So fear the Most High, and understand that if you insist on wanting to